welcome to a very special After Drive. We have assembled the finest minds of the Drive, and we are in the Drive studio downstairs in Industry City. And today we're going to be talking about the most influential people in the auto industry and automotive media, marketing, technology, and all of those things. We're going to be debating that here, and those things are going to go into the Drive 50. But wait, you have to see the Skyline bit first. So watch that and then come back. All right, so welcome to After Drive. Again, this is a very special show. We're going to be talking about the most influential people in automotive. And of course, we've assembled the finest minds at the Drive. Mike Prichinello, who you know from Classic Car Club Manhattan, you know from previous After Drives. We've got, what's your name again? Alex Roy? We got Alex Roy, a very important automotive influencer in his own right. Lawrence Ulrich, who you've just met from his Porsche GT4 review.
Great review.
Fantastic review.
The people laughed. People loved it. People loved it.
Yeah, well, the more you know him, the less you're going to be trolling him. And last but not least, sitting the highest,
yes,
Mike Guy, editor of thedrive.com and all of that that you survey, sir. So
all that I survey.
Mike is going to be moderating this, and why don't you take it from there, Guy?
All right. Well. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We are here. We have surveyed the automotive world. I sent out emails to every important person in the world, in the car space and elsewhere, and
all four of us got back to you.
And all four of you got back. No, I had dozens of people. Alex was the fastest to get back to me. It was, I think, 22 seconds.
With my own name.
With his own name and the name that everybody's talking about. I think we can kick off with Elon Musk, who is debatably, or not debatably, the biggest guy in cars right now.
Well, if you're judged by your enemies, the whole list could be wiped out, and it's just Elon Musk, because everybody is making decisions based on what he's already done. And even if Tesla went away tomorrow, it wouldn't matter. Everyone's going to be guided by the Tesla S, maybe not so much the X, and the 3. I mean, GM has made more money this quarter than Tesla ever has, and they can't market the Bolt. They can't even get a press release out without someone saying, yeah, but what about the 3, which isn't even a working car yet.
No, you're right about that, Alex. And right, he's got the whole industry reacting to him. He makes a pronouncement, everyone else reacts. And the latest reaction, Mark Fields at Ford, you know, again, a company that's minting money, and yet he had to raise his hand and say, me too, you know, $4.5 billion for electric car investment, 40% of Ford's with electric powertrains, but it feels like almost too little, too late already.
Tesla has become a brand like Band-Aid or Jell-O. It is the word you use to refer to anything else. The Tesla of this, the Musk of that.
And yet they haven't really proven that they can build cars to any scale whatsoever.
Well,
I don't think it matters.
Doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters at all. I personally, I love Teslas. I love driving them. I think that they're fantastic. I think they're a great American manufacturer. If they fail tomorrow, they've made every other automotive brand react to them. And those reactions will come out in 3 and 4 years from now.
That's what we're talking about, influence. So
that's exactly
If you look at how many Model S's are on the road, if they went out of business tomorrow, there's what, 3,000, 4,000 X's on the road, 70, 80,000 S's.
Yeah.
That's more than the combined output of every supercar company and specialty company of all time put together. And there are enough people on the ground, and infrastructure being built that could support them in an aftermarket for 100 years. So it's even on that level, it's incredible.
It'll be like Cuba.
The problem,
old Teslas around forever.
The problem they have, though, is they're completely unhedged against any other kind of technology right now. So, I mean, we're assuming, because there's enough momentum behind electric, that we're assuming that electric is going to be the next volume, post-gasoline, the next volume power source. But is hydrogen going to somehow come roaring back at some level of the economy? And then, where's electric then? I guess, he'll always have a place, but will he always be the leader of the whole pack?
he can always go to work for General Motors.
Tesla's going to merge or be acquired or merge with someone and take it over. It's inevitable. And something it doesn't. The electrification alone is not the point, because the split between future power, hydrogen is going to make sense where you need to refuel quickly in an urban area for autonomous shared fleets. But electrical is going to make sense almost everywhere else in time when power density rises. But the important thing here isn't just the electrification, it's the ecosystem of Tesla, like the Apple ecosystem with the iPod, iPhone, and iTunes. It's inconceivable to use those devices without something else, a cloud, your interface, the music. And that's what's going to happen to in-car services. They all have to be united. And no one manufacturer can own this. It's a conceptual thing. Anyone who comes out of a Tesla can't imagine owning something else. And it's not because of the car. It's because you get into the car, the GPS works, the wireless updates, everything. And that ecosystem is the future for all manufacturing.
Well, does that take us to our next influencer, the likes of Apple and Google?
Yeah, I mean, Tim Cook, Johnny Ive, where is their place in the next 10 years? Project Titan is this amazing mystery that we're all sort of sitting back and waiting for. What is it going to be?
I mean, the thing that they could have the most influence on is the underlying stuff in the car, right? The underlying electronics, where, when it comes to what the next generation of data coursing through a car's veins, if they own that in some level, if they own that platform like they own, arguably the phone platform, they don't completely own, but they've got enough market share in there.
They've had a tough year.
They've had a kind of a tough year, but they've also sold more of those damn wristwatches than, 12 million? That's a huge number. It's only not huge if it wasn't Apple, right?
Yeah, or Google.
Or Google,
I mean, you have to look at Apple and what Project Titan is, this sort of underlying software or whatever it is, in relation to what Google has planned.
Right. They're not cars, but we know they're not, no matter what anyone says, right? We know by now that they're not cars. Neither one of these companies wants to, dip a toe in those, shark-infested waters of building low-margin automobiles. They don't need to. They have a better business. They have a way better business plan in mind, and that's right. And that's to run the heart and soul of your car.
Which is why I think it's going to be a co-branded car made by someone who has no other out in the future.
So in the big three, these guys, you got Mary Barra, Mark Fields, Sergio, whatever Sergio Marchionne is up to today. Which of these guys are going to emerge from this sort of horse race and take what Google has or what Apple has or what Tesla has and bring it to the next level?
Well, Mary Barra, God love her, but she's a GM lifer. She's put in her time and she's got the brass ring now in the CEO
very
position.
Dismissive.
Did that sound dismissive? Did that
GM has built a great electric car.
Was that
at least one great electric
was that
car.
the Opham dose?
They've also killed one.
All right, sure. But they've built, I mean, the Bolt is fantastic. The Bolt, I mean, you've written extensively about this.
But Mary Barra had nothing to do with driving electrification at GM or innovation at GM.
Tesla for the Bolt, basically.
Yeah, and Mark Fields, again, strong executive. Is he an influence? Is he an innovator, or is he the figurehead of a very large corporation? I'd say it's more the latter. If there's someone in the business right now who's the linchpin of the industry, it's definitely Sergio Marchionne. He holds the fate of two, traditionally struggling automakers in his hands. One Fiat in Italy, the other Chrysler in America, and whether he can merge those companies as he would still like to do with
they don't have any
someone
cars.
else.
I don't understand. I mean, I love Sergio. I think he's a brilliant guy.
Excuse me, have you forgotten the Hellcat? Have you forgotten the Hellcat?
I did forget the Hellcat because I'm not driving one right now. That's a great car if you're driving it right now, but it's not going to save Sergio's ass.
Well, he said and Ferrari, and Ferrari spun off or not. It's still under his control.
The problem with him is he's sort of like a wind down CEO. The guy that you hire to is a closer because
of a losing game.
Right, because his exit strategy for those companies is to find somebody else to merge with.
To saddle them.
Desperately. I mean, the courting of Mary Barra was such an uncomfortable experience for me to watch.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
And for him to get spurned by her as an Italian man.
It's terrible. But I mean, the fact that they have hot Italian cars at the top of their pyramid doesn't mean that
doesn't make them influential.
It doesn't make them influential.
Unless the Levante suddenly becomes the highest selling SUV in the United States.
Even then, the more cars they sell, the worse it is for them because the customer experience is made available to more people.
So, Lawrence, I think you're being taken down a little bit by advocating Sergio as being such an influencer. I mean, but he's a closer. He's a bit of a closer.
No, but if he has an influence, it's that he's continuing the drive for consolidation in the industry, and we are going to see more. We are going to see more of it.
I'm going to say Mary Barra is I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this because I've gone after GM, because they had a great quarter, and the Bolt is coming. And it's the first 200-mile EV. It's not a Tesla. And they have enough cash that tomorrow they could construct the equivalent or better of Tesla supercharger network. And it would cost them $200 million.
The Bolt is Bob Lutz's car, not Mary Barrett's. Not
But
Mary
she has
Barrett's
it in
car.
her power to become the dominant force in electrification in this country if she can move the political screws.
See,
and
that's-
that makes her wildly influential. And behind her Fields and Marciona has nothing.
But see, that's
But
important.
what if she doesn't do it? Then she's not influential
Well, then
at
she
all.
is-
So she's like on deck influencer.
She's a I think that's a good. Or sorry, Sergio. We're talking Sergio.
But you know, it's interesting though, because I think American companies, engineers, the big three, their engineers don't get a lot of credit because they're not sexy in the world of cars. You know what I mean? Well, right. I mean, Tesla. It's all about Silicon Valley. It's all about Europe in the enthusiast world in a lot of ways. But never really count out American engineers. I think that
Tesla is filled with
not
former
sexy.
filled with former
and
American
the most
engineers.
American company in America today making a cutting-edge product that does make the American auto industry great again. Sorry. It does. It's the best thing that's going on.
You know how you feel about
I'm
Elon.
online the most with you. Just keep on.
It's also the top-selling car in Norway. Just to throw that out there.
And by the way, I mean, I didn't mean American engineers, because yes, I mean, Silicon Valley is American, but like Detroit engineers. I mean, the guys in the old industry, we tend to think that they're not relevant anymore. But there are a lot of guys in there, and all it needs is leadership to move it into that direction you're talking about.
While these guys are trying to make America great again,
We should move on to
we
Geely.
should move. Yeah, if we
Lawrence, you're fired.
If we look beyond our closed, soon to be closed borders, we have Li Shufu, the chairman of Geely, and besides his ownership of Volvo, huge influence here. He's been one of the first to call out the Chinese government for the structure of its auto industry, with the companies there being basically captives of American companies, which allows them to be complacent and lazy because they know they've always got their parent above them and with 50% ownership. And he's been driving them, saying that if they want to compete on the world stage, they have to be freed from this protectionism and being forced into having American partners. That could be a huge, huge play in the world auto industry. Somebody who's actually with the clout and the name to push the Chinese government leadership to say, again, toward real capitalism instead of fake communist capitalism.
And they're building a great product now. I mean, the
They're building
XC90,
Volvo.
the S90 is a fantastic car.
I'd say that he's more important than Barra, Fields, or
Yeah,
Marciona for the future.
Yeah, I would.
Absolutely.
I'm going to switch gears here out of the sort of the corporate world of cars into the social media world of cars. But first I want to say, you can come to thedrive.com. We're going to be putting up our lists of top influencers in different sectors over the course of next week. And it's going to be a spirited discussion, to say the least. Chris Harris, a famous guy in our world, related in some way to Mike Spinelli. His star somehow hitched to your wagon.
I've made him all he is.
Yes,
As
yes.
a matter of fact. No. Chris, I know we worked together for about 10 years, and Chris is a force of nature. I mean, he's combined enthusiasm and nerdiness and showmanship in a way that few people outside of Clarkson and
Also,
May
a journalist who drive a car really
and
well.
who drives
too.
the hell out of a car. He's driving actually in pro now. I mean, he's doing some stuff with Bentley that's pro.
So he's now
A legitimate dude.
Yeah, very legitimate dude. He's going to be one of the platoon of Top Gear soldiers in Chris Evans' army. This week, Chris got into a bit of a fight. The Gumball rally began in Dublin, and Chris expressed a view that many of us hold, perhaps not at this table, that the gumball is kind of a douchey thing to be doing. And he said it very clearly on Twitter. And
Douchey thing to be doing.
yeah, maybe it's a douchey thing to be doing. But, this is a way for me to talk about the social media world in cars, which is getting bigger and bigger and in some ways nastier and nastier. And Chris, in my mind, has always been sort of a central figure in the social media world.
Well, I think if you enrage so many people, influence doesn't always have to be positive.
Right.
And his small view on a particular nuance of our culture.
Well, just
Enraged. Nuance are interesting words to use.
he did.
here.
But just to say what he did, he tweeted this week that if he was running a supercar manufacturer, he wouldn't be really happy that the Gumball people had their names on the car.
Let's be clear here. Chris, I think we'd all agree, Chris has always seemed like the heir apparent to Clarkson's seat, but 10 years too young to hold it, to take it right now.
Yeah.
And you couldn't find anyone before yesterday with anything unkind to say about him. He can talk, he can drive, he can host, he can do the whole thing. You don't need a Stig to be Chris Harris. And suddenly, the community of people who love him feel that they've been turned on.
This tweet of his, it seemed, if you look at the Harris Monkey Twitter feed, it's not outlandish. It's not an outlandish point of view. I think he's an opinionated guy. It set off a firestorm. Yeah. And Bun B,
yes, rapper guy,
famous rapper. Basically, everybody seems to have turned on him. But as I was saying earlier, I feel like when he joined up with Top Gear, the backlash was coming somehow. There are certain people you don't cross, and I think the world kind of wanted to slap him around for suddenly becoming an.
He's not indie anymore.
Well, that's interesting. Like it's that sort of punk rock thing where it's like he's belonged to the audience before.
They don't want to share him. They don't want to share him. They don't want to share him.
When he was doing, like we were doing YouTube videos, it's very intimate. You know what I mean? Like and especially him. Like he talks to enthusiasts, and he's got that engaging style where people feel that he's one of them, and then once they don't, it starts to the dream starts to unravel a little bit for some people, I think.
It's interesting though that what he said is almost exactly what Clarkson said about Gumball 10 years ago. No Gumball references on Top Gear, and yet later Jody Kidd, who's a big Gumball person, was on Top Gear, and so. You can see it might have been deliberate and political for the future, setting him up in a certain way. I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't want to get too bogged down in Gumball because it's a whole sort of separate debate. I'm sort of interested in, is there a passing of a torch? I mean, Top Gear is relaunching this month with a whole new staff. Clarkson and his crew are doing whatever they're doing for $200 million at Amazon.
Well, it shows that the social media guys have more influence than maybe Top Gear has. No way. Well, wait a minute. Check this out. You may disagree, but it's happened at Gumball, right? Where Gumball was sort of faltering a little bit for a few years, and then the social media kids. I call them kids. I don't mean to be condescending. The social media guys, I know. Sorry, I don't want to cross anybody. No, because like the Shmi 150s and the Saab Kyles and the guys who have organically grown massive bases of people, the Seb Delaney's, name another one. I mean, they're even Matt Farah, where they've grown these massive organic bases of enthusiasts, and they can turn public opinion in the way that
dollars.
No, not dollars yet, but opinion.
Business around.
But opinion is important. But you're right. I mean, maybe they can't turn that into the kind of money that Top Gear did, but they can turn opinion, and that's the thing that's
unless
important.
It generates dollars, the way Amazon's $200 million investment creates $500 million or $1 billion of value, none of the Instagram stuff matters until
or
it
does
moves
it?
dollars.
Yeah, well,
in a real way, and it doesn't yet.
Well, but it has moved opinion. It'll move dollars away from Top Gear if this gets out of control. Like I don't know how Chris would deal with this.
Just
right?
no one has cracked the code of how to monetize it, but it's pretty clear from everyone, from people unplugging their cable subscriptions to whatever, that this form of media is pulling attention and pulling critical mass away from traditional media. No question about it.
By the way, we're traditional media, so
are we that traditional?
Well, we have to be at least self-examining about this, because
Self-examine our celebrity list. Who on this list of people has any reach into actually Instagram level, organic, 2 generations of the future influence? Clarkson, somewhat. Leno, no. You're under 30, you don't care about Leno. Under 40, probably you don't cover Leno. Chris Evans has nothing going on. He's a 1 year for this world. Harris is the future.
1 year for this world.
Oh, wow, all right.
Okay. Dempsey's got nothing. No one under 40, unless they're women, has any idea who he is. And Corolla's got something with guys our vintage. So your list here that matters for the future is Clarkson, Harris. Everyone else you cross off the list.
Corolla still produces the most listened to podcast in the world. Okay. I mean, that's not just a bunch of 40-year-olds dudes. Maybe it is. Maybe it's all just 40-year-old dudes. It's still big. And also, that's a pretty powerful demographic.
The list of car celebrities that cross it is a pretty sad list.
Well, who's not on this list? We've got Jay Leno.
You've got him, yeah.
Jay Leno is still still a towering figure.
Well, Seinfeld's an entertainment powerhouse, but if you asked 50 average people and told them he was a Porsche collector, 49 would say, "Wow, that's a surprise to me." He doesn't reach into the
Guess
car.
who
into
is?
the,
I mean, he
car
gets
world.
Barack Obama to step out of his office and play around in the Stingray for a couple hours.
You know what I like about Jerry's show is that he just enjoys being in cars, and it doesn't have to be a drift fest or anything else. And it's kind of not even really about the car, but it's all.
Oh, the
about
car's
the
a
car.
prop. The car is a prop.
But it's it's like living in these. I know a lot about driving old, peculiar cars, and I kind of always like watching it. Influential? I don't know actually.
Certainly not on the scale of Elon Musk.
Then you have other people like celebrity-wise. You have like Dax Shepard, and who always bring kind of car culture into what they do. But I don't think they're moving the needle in that
I have
way.
a question.
They're just guys I like to have a beer with.
Yeah. Ken Block is a guy that sort of fascinates me. He's a marketing genius who's become a pretty good driver. He's probably the most talented marketing
By the way,
executive
also a
behind
celebrity.
the wheel of a car.
He should be on the celebrity list.
He should be on the Why do you think that?
Because he's a celebrity, isn't
But
he?
he's a global rallycross star.
He's a global celebrity.
He wears many hats.
He wears many hats. He's I think
He's a celebrity in our world. If you ask the average person on the street, though, if you show him a picture of Ryan Reynolds and you show him a picture of Ken Block, I mean, they're going to know one of them,
You don't
and
need
it's
to know
not
what Ken
Ken.
Block looks like to know.
This is the drive, though. It's the only universe that matters.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in our universe, I mean, if you want to go out to the, I mean, yeah, if our universe really mattered, like, E30 BMW M3s would be selling, to this day, hundreds of millions a
surprised.
year.
So I'm surprised. Maybe we.
Frank Ocean. He's got like the best car collection
Well, it's
ever.
funny you
I love
mentioned.
that guy.
Well, there you
I love
go.
that
I'm
guy's
surprised
car
you mentioned. There is a blind spot on this. I mean, if we talk about people who have taken car culture and brought it into the broader culture, we have no hip hop. We have no
Jay-Z,
hip hop people
Jay-Z
on
and
this
Maybachs
list
and
whatsoever.
Destroyers.
There's
From-
not enough
from
diversity.
video.
Yeah.
okay, that's incendiary. Okay, in the world of
But then, I mean, that world has
there's
done a great job of
one woman
drawing.
on this list. Just pointed out, there's 50 people here and one woman. I think that's fascinating, and it's a CEO.
We missed Danica Patrick.
I'd argue for.
I don't think we missed Danica Patrick.
Well,
No, but for all her lack of racing success,
record aside,
I think
got
she's
the whole universe.
give her credit. She's probably inspired a lot of young girls to say that, hey, I can do this. I can get into karts. I can drive as well as a boy, and
Completely.
Hey, hats off to her.
Every year that we race, there's more and more women in the paddock that we race.
I mean, she's not going to go down as a great driver, but she can hang.
Yeah.
She can hang with Dale Jr. She's as good a driver as Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Whoa.
She'll make jokes out of all of us here.
Oh, that's absolutely true. Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, it's like pretty much. I mean, you could throw a rock and hit.
I'm not good at being a critic like that. Right?
Yeah, no, but there are a lot of young women drivers now. The crazy thing is, yes, maybe I don't know if it's her influence or just the influence of
culture
in general. Like, girls didn't play soccer until the 70s. They didn't play Little League until the 80s. Well, I mean, they did, but not in the numbers that they do now. And
Shirley Muldowney.
And Shirley Muldowney. Shirley Muldowney. Cha-cha.
Yeah. The thing about the female segment of the United States in cars is they buy more cars.
Right.
That's right.
They are a more powerful.
They also make the decision, right, in the house?
They
That's
do make the
So
decision.
they
They shop for cars online more than men do, and they spend more time going to dealerships than men do.
My sister.
They are the force behind
My sister's
the
family.
secret force behind.
So maybe the American woman should be on the list.
Is that a cop-out? Thing to do that the American woman is the most influential?
Well,
Actually,
Time
She
Time
is.
Magazine does it.
She is. 52% of American
She is,
women.
and the Chinese consumer.
And more than 60% of the cars are purchased by women. I mean, just by raw numbers, that is a fact.
Jack.
So half this list goes away. It's just the American woman,
And then the Chinese consumer.
the Chinese
American
consumer.
woman, Chinese consumer, and Ken Block.
And Elon Musk.
And Elon Musk, right? And toxic patriot.
But something we didn't talk about were the dealerships and the guys who were sort of,
Again, Elon Musk. Destroying
Elon
the whole
Musk,
dealership network.
the governor of Connecticut, folding to GM's lobbyists
Yeah.
and to kill the bill allowing Tesla to sell cars. It's disgusting. It's un-American.
Damn it.
dealers sort of write the rules and dealers sell cars. Until Musk completely disrupts that system. But Sonic, Hendrix,
You see, Musk hasn't done it quite yet. So a guy like Penske, right, is still one of the most influential people, because anyone who can sell cars, I mean, that's the, how many cars are car companies going to sell this year in America?
You know something, you have a point, because
17
Roger
million.
Penske isn't just in car sales, he's also in logistics, movement, and heavy trucking,
Right.
which puts him into autonomous.
Penske's a polymath.
Because,
Wait a minute.
because autonomous trucking is going to be the leading edge of all this, and Penske is probably going to be the biggest customer and deployer of autonomous vehicles in this country probably before Musk. Because there's going to be several 100,000 trucks on
I
the
hate
road.
to say this, but Penske's not going to live to the day where trucks are driven autonomous.
But the idea will never die.
The idea is not Roger's idea.
Is he on your list?
Penske?
Yeah.
He is now. So is anyone in motorsports? Is there anyone in motorsports that matters really to the broader automotive world? I mean, besides Ken Block.
Well, we talked about Bernie Eccleston earlier.
Yeah.
Formula One, FOM. He rules the media empire of Formula One. The guy's, how old is he now?
170? Something like that?
What about drivers like Lewis Hamilton? So younger people who are behind the wheel, the sort of adrenaline junkies, the ones who I think help the next generation find a reason to like sport and
Until they
motorsport
hear
and
his
driving,
unreleased album.
which is really why I think Ken Block is a really big. Just to get back to him, is that like he's sort of brought, from an American perspective, a European style of driving and interest to America.
He drives cars that you can drive too. People put Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, he's like the
on
new
this list.
NASCAR.
What's that?
Like he's like the new NASCAR. Like
Maybe. Well,
like-
Global Rallycross
Yeah.
had good numbers last year.
Yeah.
They're
And
gonna
Block
have
has-
good
Exciting
numbers
racing.
this
And
year.
he has his own clothing line. I think he's more important than Lewis Hamilton on a broader level. 'cause
I
he's
totally agree with
accessible.
that.
He's accessible to all people.
You know what I really like about Lewis, about Ken Block is his style of driving, which is sort of like drift turned sport turned rally. It's all about car control and phenomenal car control. And my niece just got her driver's license, and I went out driving with her because in America now, kids are not taught how to deal with situations when they happen. It's just like stay in the lines, drive 25 miles an hour, and when you hit black ice, you'll sort that out later. But you go to parking lots on weekends and you see kids teaching themselves how to drift and learning to control a car that's out of shape. And I think America could kind of use a bit of higher driving acumen, and I think that he's part of that push, and that's really important.
No, it's
But
something
not
that didn't
explicitly.
exist. It's something that didn't exist 20 years ago,
Yeah.
drifting, other than us, bashing into snowbanks, in the Midwest.
But I feel like
but,
when 20 years ago, though, you could have a bit of hoonigan in your own car, right? Malarkey was okay. Now you just can't do it. There's cameras everywhere. You're arrested. It just.
But right.
There was
but
that
people like
driving
Block-
instructor.
So people like Block have brought that
Yeah.
into the wider culture that
Yeah.
losing traction is okay.
That you could do something with it.
Yeah. Okay, we have to wrap up. I just want to quickly go around the room because ultimately we're going to settle on the most influential person in the automotive world. Alex Roy, who's your pick?
In the whole automotive world, two. The guy, Dan Greenewalt.
Why do you
Forza
get two?
Motorsport.
Oh, that's a good one. We haven't talked about that. Well, you don't get two.
He just speaks for himself.
We haven't
Everyone
talked about Dan,
who
though.
drives a car or ever will play Forza.
That was your choice. Forza.
Huh.
Him, really? You're going for it? All right. Yeah.
We missed the elephant there. Who influences the world? Like it or not, governments and regulators are going to be the biggest influence on autos for decades to come. So President Obama, not only did he bail out Detroit, my hometown, when people wanted to take that city and float it down the river and wave goodbye to the auto industry, he put his money where his mouth is, bailed it out. The auto industry exists today in America because of what he did. And then for an encore, putting $4 billion, proposing $4 billion of spending for autonomous cars. I'm sorry, but if you had the GOP and asked them how much they would want to fund autonomy, the answer would be a fat zero. So President Obama.
Obama it is. Mr. Spinelli?
I'm going to go with Alex Roy.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
What do you think? Was that
For President Obama, it's only fitting to.
I wanted to get both ends of the.
Well, it makes sense because
And I'm his right. Can I be
Wait,
your
who do
running
we
mate? Can I
have?
be
Who
your
do we-
running
President
mate?
Obama can't drive outside of his own gate, as we learned. So it would have to be.
What
Alex.
about
he doesn't even need
150?
four
Shmi
wheels.
150, Matt Farah.
All right, I'm going to go with.
Shmi?
Yeah.
Shmi 150?
So I'm going to go with Shmi 150 because seriously, like this is a guy who took the social media platform and can move millions of people to do stuff, watch his videos. I mean, like with zero corporate investment with like literally. I mean, whoa.
This is an open call.
Come on,
for
Lawrence.
shame.
I'm gonna open up the taps on your videos, and the trolls are gonna come in.
He's a car flipper with a lot of traffic. You got to say it.
Well, I mean,
Commoditizing excellence.
so I'm being a little bit provocative by bringing him up, but I mean the idea that one person, just by showing pictures of cars and sort of living the enthusiast lifestyle in front of a camera or behind a camera even, can move so many people as much as a media.
Then we should have put Dead Paul Walker on the list, because he will always be the guy. I'm not making jokes. I knew.
No,
it,
I know.
right?
Yeah, but
And Paul Walker is going to loom above all these people for as long as the Furious Fast franchise lasts.
All right. Mike, Prichinello.
I don't mean to double up, but I'm going to go with Ulrich. I'm going to go President Obama.
President Obama.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really think government? I mean, government
As someone-
and regulation driving the industry.
Unfortunately, I mean, I would go either Musk or, but I've bought a lot of American cars in the last couple of years, and they're what?
The king of Saudi Arabia, whoever it is
Yeah.
the most influential person in the
gas.
car world, because they will determine.
That's
That's your third. That's your third
one.
choice.
Stop it.
You can't have
Okay,
three.
let Mike finish.
One arm, three wheels, three opinion.
I mean, I basically threw mine away. You get 3 of them.
Charles Morgan, dead, is more important.
I used to be really disappointed by, I'm not really disappointed, but mildly disappointed by American cars prior to the economy failing and then the bailout. And I think that the cars that we've bought from America, in the last couple of months, even cars I bought, Cadillac, the new GT350 Shelby Mustang, the new Z06 Corvette. I have a room full of supercars and everything else, and there's like 3 American cars in that garage that'll slay anything. And I think a lot of that has to do with him. And
Right, the seeds were planted before
Yeah.
the bailout.
And
but
that's what
but without it,
influences.
those cars don't exist. Those cars don't
Right.
exist.
There we go. Okay, that is it for our discussion. Obviously, we're a very spirited and opinionated group of people. And I know that the rest of the internet is. We are going to be putting up a poll where you can sound off on who you think the most influential people are in the automotive space. So come to YouTube/Drive and thedrive.com to watch this and engage in the poll and look at our list next week.
Well, thanks for watching a very special After Drive. Thanks to all the guests, Alex. That's your name again. The bearded guy from that Porsche video. Lawrence Ulrich, Chief Auto Critic for The Drive. Mike Guy, editor of The Drive. Mike Prichinello from Classic Car Club Manhattan, and me. Shmee 150.
the newly styled.
Shmee 152.
Spin 150.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.
150.